Grappling today has its fair share of butt scooters and guard floppers. But with the increasing interest in ADCC rule sets, takedowns are becoming more and more important to focus on, because a solid wrestling base is pretty much a necessity in competition. Matches often even stay on the feet at ADCC, where competitors exchange takedown attempts and get back up to try and score again and again without hunting for the submission. And although there's a wide selection out there, one of the most commonly used takedowns in Jiu-Jitsu is the single leg. And this shouldn't be that surprising given its effectiveness in the sport of wrestling, but in Jiu-Jitsu the move tends to look a little different. A typical entry is set up with a leg grab by distracting the upper body and reaching down to the legs when there's an opening. Typically this is done with collar ties, arm drags, or just by posting and creating a reaching reaction from your opponent to get their focus off of their lead leg. A key difference from wrestling versus submission grappling is that wrestlers will usually drive through to off-balance their opponent while looking to grab the leg, but this is a lot more dangerous here because of the added threat of submission, so you don't see as much follow-through and use of momentum in Jiu-Jitsu. But if you are going to shoot aggressively, you're going to want to keep your head on the inside because it will prevent the easy guillotine. And if you do end up shooting with your head on the outside, be ready to switch to the double leg and get your body around to the other side to create shoulder pressure and break the strangle. When dropping to take the shot, there's the avenue of reaching across and grabbing opposite leg to arm from the inside, or attacking from the outside and entering on the leg. Another entry to the single is from a wrestle up when the bottom player notices an opportunity on the isolated leg to wrap it up and stand up. Generally this is done off of a failed guard pass or timed correctly off of a sweep setup where the top player starts feeling danger and starts retreating, leaving their leg open. It's rare to see in Jiu-Jitsu, but more common in wrestling to see a low single where you shoot from your knees all the way down to the calf or ankle and slowly work on taking out the base and getting on top for points in a much less flashy and glamorous way. This definitely gives a lot more time to sprawl and leaves openings to be guillotined or stepped over for attacks like an armbar. But if you can use it to suck in that leg and work your way up for a better grip, it can certainly be an effective tool. There are safer variations of a low single like an ankle pick, where you still grab just as low as you can and keep a collar tie or underhook to topple your opponent over. Okay, so that covers some of the best entries, but what are some of the best ways to actually take your opponent down? The standard single leg comes from a position where the leg is locked between your thighs to prevent them from pulling it out, while one or both of your arms are hooked under the back of the knee. You'll also usually expect them to be tight, hugging the leg with their chest and with their head on the inside of the opponent's body to secure it even further with no chance of being guillotined. Anytime someone gets to the single leg but can't get the leg locked in tight, there's a much bigger window to escape like we see here from Josh. But when he shoots it again and secures Krelliston's leg, he's able to finish and get him down. So from the strong standard single leg position, running the pipe is very common. It's done by turning your opponent in the direction of the leg that's snatched up and walking backwards while pressing forward with the head and chest to dump them down. Notice Gordon's head is fully on the outside here to emphasize the pressure he creates with his chest. This is much harder to do with the head on the inside, but Andrew is able to do it here by pulling the leg in tight right off his shot and creating a more open angle and dumping him quickly. If just that chest pressure isn't working, you can throw the opposite side arm in at the neck to club them even harder in that direction. From the standard position, a very commonly used takedown in Jiu-Jitsu lately has been to transition quickly to the back. In wrestling, this isn't usually the case because letting go of the leg for even a split second will leave enough room to retreat. The difference here is submission grapplers want to stay engaged and won't always retreat from this position because there are a number of attacks the defender can try while defending the takedown. Fabricio uses the single leg entry almost as a fake out, moving immediately to the back once he's in on the leg without even picking it up. Ethan grabs the leg from a Z guard and while coming up hooks his leg to the foot of Fabricio. While standing, he quickly switches to a back waist grip, eventually finishing with a mat return. Despite Fabricio's whizzer, that could make things very difficult. But because Ethan was fast and got low enough, he avoided the trouble of this whizzer without addressing it. PJ Barch, a D1 wrestler in his own rights, deals with the whizzer in a much prettier way. When Cade digs his whizzer in, all in one motion, PJ is able to drive him forward and swim his arm out to the far waist grip and take the back. Diogo does the same, but deals with the whizzer differently. When he's driving Andre back on a single leg, instead of transitioning from behind, he throws his opposite side arm in while driving Andre to the mat and coming to the back, completely taking away his opportunity to whizzer. Transitioning from single leg to a double leg is another great option. Lucas does so here when he notices that Gordon is pulling him in and brings his standing leg in close. With just a knee tap, he takes him down and starts defending the choke. choke. It can also work when your head ends up on the outside. Nicky here is wrestling out, but instead of looking to transition to the back, he realizes his head is on the outside, so he's able to reach around the second leg to lock his hands and finish with a double. So what about if you can't get to the standard single leg position with the leg trapped, chest down, and head on the inside? A lot of times the leg will end up on the inside of your body instead of between your legs, and you can do things like what Nicholas does here, lifting the foot high and leg sweeping to knock Ty down. Elder does a similar thing after struggling to take Cyborg down from the single leg position. He lowers one grip further down the leg and opens his own legs to lift the leg high. So Cyborg turned to escape and gave Elder the opportunity to take the back. Cody gets to the standard position but stands tall instead of keeping his chest down and tight to the leg. So when Edwin tries to pull him down, he goes for a similar leg sweep and ends up losing standard position. Cody keeps control of the leg and swings Edwin around, exposing the back, and Matt returns him for a massive takedown. Point being here that if you lose control of the leg between your own legs, don't abandon the position altogether. There are also options here to drop and pull guard out of the single leg, but I'm not going to go too deep on those. I don't know that I consider those takedowns, and this video will already be pretty long. So clearly the single leg is very dynamic and there's a lot of ways to finish the takedown, but what about defending it? Understanding that if they can't touch your leg, they can't grab it is the first step to defending the single leg. So if you can maintain a stance that protects your leg with your arms, or standing in a way that you can pull your leg back, you'll have your best chance at avoiding it. And early defense on a deep single leg is to sprawl. Just ask DeAndre, who slams his hips down on AJ's head and works his leg back to break AJ's grips. Ethan does the same to shut down Cisneros' single leg, but opts to climb over the back and look for a reverse triangle. Another early defense is if you're prepared to dig underhooks as they're shooting to help remove your leg. This is why it's important to have a tight T-Rex arm stance to give yourself the best chance at catching them on their way in. Cody does so here with his offside arm, and Elder does so here with the same side arm to prevent the leg capture. Alternatively, you can opt to overhook if you've missed your chance at an underhook, and that's known as a whizzer. A strong whizzer can be used to shove your opponent downward or create space and separate. On the other hand, a weak whizzer will give your opponent a deeper underhook and put you in danger of being taken down. When it's too late to overhook or underhook, pushing the head down to the mat can alleviate the chance of being high crotch if caught early enough. And as Diogo does here, with the right timing, they'll slide down your leg so you can turn out and escape the hold. At a later stage, once you've missed your chance to underhook, whizzer, or sprawl, there are some other things you can still do to defend the takedown. Posting to create distance from their chest can help to create a window, which PJ Barch has figured out how to do masterfully. Again and again, each time Cade grabbed PJ's leg, he maintained composure, framed on the neck or even sometimes on the face to create an opening for his leg as he turned his hip away and retracted it. And this particular match is two guys with some of the best wrestling in the division, clear by their stances. In almost all of their engagements, unless they were trying to bait one another, they both have really strong stances to shoot and to defend. Both kept an arm prepared on their forward leg side to underhook, never reaching too far out of position or extending on their lead leg side where it would expose them to be taken down. To contrast this, almost the opposite is Edwin pulling in and squaring his body up with Cody's instead of creating space and turning out, which opens him up to be taken down. Another method to help square up with your opponent and take away a lot of their momentum is to circle your leg to the outside once you've created an opening. And finally, the other obvious thing to do, because this is jiu-jitsu, is to find an attack while your opponent is shooting. The guillotine is a very good one if you can off-center their head to the outside and force them to start defending. Otherwise, another great option is reaching over for the Kimura or armbar, like AJ does here, and shows that if you can get the Kimura grip, don't let go because eventually you'll get on top. At the end of the day, the single leg is a hell of a takedown with a lot of options for the finish. Not to mention the ease of entry in comparison to something like a double leg where a lot more energy expenditure is necessary on the shot. But if you're not in a strong stance on your single leg, with your back level, your arms tight, chest down, and head on the inside, you'll risk losing the leg altogether or even worse. Let me know what you think about the single leg in jiu-jitsu and what I should cover for next time.